I'm Thomas Del Charco. This is my 1993 Ford Econoline conversion van. I bought it my last semester of college, fixed it up with my dad, and when I graduated, I took off for a year-long gap year road trip through America. It's been an unreal time, and now I'm hanging out in South California, surfing, slacklining, and enjoying the weather. I spent $2,500 on it, and I probably put around $3 grand worth of upgrades into it. Since then, I've probably had about $3,000 worth of mechanics bills too. So be very, very diligent when researching which van to buy and the current state that it's in. Every piece of wood that you see in here was either taken out of one of my dad's boats or reclaimed by my grandpa from pallets on Craigslist. So it was all sitting around our little family cul-de-sac, and I just put it to good use. When I first got the van, pretty much everything looked like this with the teal package. A lot of wood. This was originally in the van right here, this Winnebago thing. But this was all black, and this was carpet. So the first step was to rip all the walls and floor out. So that really revealed like the bare skeleton. Music is really big in my life, so this guy was a necessity. I had my friends pick out the parts and stuff because I was pretty much new to building a subwoofer, but I got all the cut diagrams on the internet and cut out, the shape, and it works pretty well. This little cabinet was left over from college, and it works really, really well. I put it in the van just as a temporary placeholder, and then realized I didn't really need to build an upgrade because, this thing is great. It pulls all the way out so you can actually get in the drawers, and it doesn't move when you're driving around. My grandma made me these cool curtains so I didn't have to use doors because I knew that I'd always be opening them and getting in the way, my skateboard, there's all kinds of stuff in here. So I have these curtains that just slide over so you can kind of conceal the junk. But then it's pretty simple. I just, have all my stuff in baskets or free, and they're easy to pull out. Here's where I keep the beer and all my canned goods. My stove right here just pulls out, put it right there, and I have this little lip on my table so that way nothing slides off. This is my amp. It powers the sub I was just showing you. This is the inverter, good for 110 volt output, and this is to charge my battery from the main starter battery. And here's my deep cycle marine battery, which gets charged up by a 100-watt solar panel on the roof. I designed the table to be like my countertop height at home because I originally had a temporary mock-up table in here and it was too low, and I found myself always hunching over. So since I got the extended top height and I can stand up with just a little leg stance like this, I really want to be able to work on my countertop with that good angle. So it's really high. It's got a bowl in it. I pretty much use this as you would a normal bowl, or I can use it as a sink to wash my dishes right here. To be honest, a lot of the times I just pull it out and wash the dishes outside of the van. I want to keep the cabinet space real simple and easy to do with reclaimed wood. This thing right here was my parents' hammock from their wedding party, so I repurposed it with all these little hooks so I can quickly access things like bottle openers and my multi-tool, which comes in handy pretty often. And you can also just grab any pot without opening a door. It doesn't look the prettiest, but it works pretty well. My mom always had little calendars like this growing up, so for the year she bought me a yoga one, and I write what I did every day on the back of it and put it in this little thing, so I have a daily journal. But before I did that, I really liked this quote. My clothes storage is all up here. I made these removable, so if I wanted to be able to, change the size of any of the cubbies, I can. If I want to take them all out and use it as a different form of storage, I can. But recently, it's worked really well to have all my rolled up clothes right here. I definitely didn't plan on buying a surfboard, but once I got to California, I knew I needed one. So then the question was, where do I put it? So I pretty much just jammed it in the back, and this, luckily enough, had enough clearance. So I just attached a bungee cord up there and attached it to these things that hold up my insulation. There's not really cabinets over here, but I did make a little shelf for all my books that I can just easily grab when I'm laying in bed. The roof is lined with maps from my journey, usually from national parks or national monuments. I designed the bed to be removable, but that really didn't work out too great. I never remove it, and it takes up too much room. So I would definitely redesign the bed. There was no good way to attach it to the walls, so I had to use some kind of like support beams or whatever. The bed is made out of 8 inches of memory foam, it just came from a king size memory foam topper that I cut in half. And it's just the right height for me to lay down on. I was worried that I wouldn't fit in the bed when I laid down just on the floor, but since the van bows outwards, the windows are actually, longer width-wise than the bottom, and so it worked out great. I started the trip out with the idea of going through the southern part of the United States, but when I went up to Roswell and the hill land of New Mexico, it got real cold in like the teens, so I had to buy a Buddy 50. Works great, runs off the little green propane cylinders that are the bane of my existence. I basically use it to get out of bed in the morning when it's just too cold to actually get the sheets off. So I start that up, wait for it to heat up, then I can get out, start my coffee. That further heats the van, and by the time I'm done with my coffee, the sun's up and I'm on a hike. So this is my cooler. I wish I had a fridge, but I would have to get more solar, and the fridge is expensive, so it just made more sense for just the year to be using this cooler. I will say that would be an upgrade that I would have made had I really realized, the fridge is a lifesaver. But this thing will keep ice for 7 days, and it's rugged, and it's nice because it works as a seat, Still use, it's a good height for this, and it's an extra chair for visitors in the van. One really big improvement that I think you should probably make in your build would be to add the swivel seat. I had to cut a couple extra holes in the metal and kind of jimmy around some nuts and bolts, but I got it to work, and it's a lifesaver. It really opens up the space, and it just makes it more comfortable. I'm a huge fan of shoe organizers for your doors, just to easily be able to access things like headlamps, bug spray. My mom sewed these for me, and I put Velcro on them because the magnets were getting a little bit obnoxious, and the Velcro is always staying in the same spot. So they really get in there and press. You can't really see through. It's fantastic. These are my storage containers. I've got 4 of them, and they're pretty much packed up, all packed full, but whenever I do need to get something out, I can pull it all out and sift through them. This is my water system. I usually just fill up these gallon jugs, and then whenever I'm cooking, I can just use the gallon jugs instead of having to get it out of here. Here's the camping bin. Just a lot of random stuff in there, honestly. I got some pots and pans down below for when I make big pasta meals. I got my drill, I got an extension cord, and here's stuff like oil and glittery spray paint. So you've seen the van, you've seen the upgrades, and if you want to see the rest of my adventures, you're gonna have to follow my Instagram at Charco Travels.